True. I would say that's very true. Young at heart. A lot of people don't know I'm 33 when they meet me just because they've met me through the jewelry, and that brings me joy too. And they're just like, oh, dude, how old are you? Are you 25, 27? I'm like, 33. You're 33? Like, yeah, I am. Like, people, like, it's just, you're right. Like, it's the joy that resonates.
That's so dope, though, that you have, so you've done well in business at 33.
Thank you.
That's
yeah.
getting to the point where some people never get.
I'm very thankful for that, but I'm as hungry as the day as I got into it. Like, I'm not gonna stop doing what I do or get complacent. You know, even though I've been doing wrestling, I've still been bringing income into Luxe. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you know, that I'm always gonna be a hustler. That's just who I am. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm gonna try to make, you know, $1 out of 10 cents every day.
So when you went from working for your uncle, were you just selling jewelry?
Absolutely.
When you started?
Absolutely. I was selling, and then I got more responsibilities. You know, I got to take care of paperwork. I basically, every time there was an opportunity to do something, I said, I'll do it.
Okay.
And if I do it wrong, teach me how to do it, and I'll do it.
So you weren't scared?
No, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, also, it's crazy, again, ties right back into wrestling, because they tell us all the time, they're like, make yourself indispensable. Like, if you really want a job in this industry, make yourself indispensable. You know, do things that other people may not have the time to, because any job, big or small, is a job, and it'll lead to something. You know what I mean? Like, we've had people come in and lecture us, and they're like, you know, I worked for this small indie promotion, but for them, I was a commentator, a ring announcer, a referee. I did their social media. I did their video edits. I did all this stuff. And then so when it was time for a bigger company to come and look for somebody, they're like, well, this guy wears so many hats. Mm-hmm. Like, he's so valuable.
He's indispensable.
Right. And so only two things could happen at that point. You either go for the bigger company that's going to offer you a better situation, or this company realizes they can't lose you, and they offer you a better situation.
Either way, you win.
Either way, you're the winner in that situation. So that's what that leads to, you know. So just open yourself up to opportunities, live outside your comfort zone a little bit, but learn something.
So did you take his store and, like, rename it and create your own LLC and kind of take what he taught you and, like, put your art into it? I mean, is that...
Yeah, so in 2012, there was a store of his at the mall at Stonecrest that was losing money. I knew why it was losing money, but it was kind of hard because I was kind of in charge of a few stores at this point, but I wasn't really in charge. Like, I wasn't a manager. I wasn't anything like that. I was kind of just like the agent that was sent from store to store to kind of like see what was going on, see if they needed anything. But that particular store, I saw them doing really well in sales, but for some reason they were losing money. Now, it's not, you know, Sherlock Holmes logic. You should know that if that's happening, someone's pocketing the money. That's all it is. So I knew that the manager that he had there was taking more than his share. So I was like, he said he wanted to sell the store because it was losing money. I said, I'll buy it from you. I'll take this store. So I ended up buying it from him, ended up paying him off. I think we settled up within like 2 or 3 years. I paid him off. And he basically said, the inventory in that store, whatever you want to keep, you pay for it. Whatever you don't want to keep, I'll take it back and I'll put it into my other stores. So I was like, okay, cool. So I took it over, and then that store finally started to flourish, and then it started to do more than what it was originally doing because of the potential I put into it with my marketing and my thinking and the way I do things. So that's why I was able to take that store, and now we have 3 locations. So
the Mall, Georgia.
Stonecrest, which is the original one, and then we have one inside the America's Mart, which is in downtown Atlanta, but that's more of like, it's not open to the public.
Okay.
Yeah.
VIP.
That's so cool. See, my thing with jewelry, actually on the first one of these I was talking about my grills, and my appeal, or the reason why it's so appealing to me, is there's just several things. I think I told you when we were getting them, is like the history of it. Like, I know they've been around for like 5,000 years. And then also for me, it's the science behind it, right? So gold is the best conductor, one of the best conductors there is. I use my mouth to make money, either on sales, recruiting, or now the podcast. I mean, the podcast has been really just doing it for love, but eventually I think it's going to end up prospering. So for me, like, that's such a huge appeal. Plus, I just think it looks cool. Like that's another huge thing too.
Oh, absolutely.
What is it for jewelry for you in particular?
So jewelry for me in particular is kind of like kind of the same reason why I originally wanted to be a wrestler. There's an exclusivity to it. You know, not everybody has access to it, and not everybody is going to be able to afford it. Mm-hmm. And I kind of like that. I kind of like the fact that it's not something for everyone. You know,
but that gives it value.
Right. It's only and that word is actually like down to the finite point of jewelry. value is like the word that is the most finesse. And I say that because at the end of the day, you're paying for something that's not going to keep you warm. It's not going to give you shelter. It's not going to nourish you. It's something that's a complete luxury.
Yeah.
Right? But it's somehow become a necessity almost in the culture. Like, if you don't have this, you don't have status. If you don't have this, you can't get married. Right? You can't get engaged. Right? So, like, the actual, like, value or the idea of value behind jewelry is kind of why I love it. It's because it's like I said, exclusive. It's not for everyone. It's a VIP experience in itself. Not everybody can walk into a store and be like, hey, here's $1,000 out of my pocket.
Right.
For something that's not going to feed me, clothe me or keep me warm.
That's so true.
Right? So
I used to bartend. I was never even thinking about
jewelry at the time.
Yeah.
Right.
I just,
And so, as you go up in life, and go up being like, not grow up, but just go up in your mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the more you mature, the more you see it, you start realizing, like, hey, instead of buying stocks or instead of buying Jordans and instead of buying, something that's going to sit there and maybe go up or down, gold has been going up year after year after year. Perfect example is I met somebody and they had a really nice Figaro chain on. And I was like, yo, that's a really nice chain. They don't make them like that anymore. It's like, yeah, my dad bought that and he passed away. He handed it to me. He bought it probably in the 60s. And I was like, well, you've made a lot of money on that chain. And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, I bet you that your dad, whatever he paid for it, you multiply that by 10 or 12, that's what it's worth right now. And he's like, no way. And I was like, go look at the gold price. You can check what the gold price was in the 60s. If you know the exact year, the exact month, you can check. It's historically documented. And see what it is now. Multiply that by the gram of your chain.
Yeah.
You're going to know exactly how much money you've made. And that's the thing. Like, when people buy gold, they're like, well, what if in like a few years I don't want it? I was like, in a few years,
it's going to be worth more.
It's going to be worth more. In a few years, you're going to want to hand it down.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to want to do. People buy this stuff and put it in safety deposit boxes.
Right.
That's what they do. It's a whole culture, to buy gold, like even raw, unrefined, forget finished pieces. I broker gold too, like gold bars, gold bricks, gold balls, everything. So, that's a whole thing in itself where people buy that, just let it sit, and then later they want to sell it back. It's raw gold. Jewelers always need raw gold to make jewelry. They can get their money back out of it super easy.
Right.
So, that's kind of why I like it. Awesome. It's like the value and the exclusivity that comes with it.
What's your favorite metal?
My favorite metal. So, that's a tricky question.
And what's the difference between, I guess before we get to that, what's the difference between yellow gold and white gold? So we call him white gold now because he got that white gold necklace from you.
Right.
And the office will call him white gold.
So gold is the same when it comes out the ground, okay? When we refine it and finish it into a product, we can either finish it with a polish, regular polish, which keeps it yellow, or we can put rhodium on top of it. Rhodium makes it white. Now, rhodium is another metal that comes out of the earth. The value of rhodium versus the value for gold, which I'm going to show you right now.
Rhodium. I've never even heard of that.
Nobody has. Look, this is a gold spot app, okay? So it shows you gold price daily. Gold price has gone up 40 cents overnight. So an ounce of gold right now, the asking price is $1,729.30.
Wow.
Okay? The spot price for rhodium is
$22,000.
$22,000 versus $1,700.
Whoa.
And it's funny because when people ask us, like, oh, why does my white gold chain cost more than a yellow gold chain? That's why. Because we have to put rhodium on it. Rhodium is a lot more expensive. I mean, it's not like, it's like a very minimal amount of rhodium that takes to make that whole chain white. But we still got to pay for that much rhodium.
Yeah. Right.
I was going to say, it's, 12, 15 times more expensive.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, that's the whole thing about it is, like, that's the difference between yellow gold and white gold. And then rose gold, we take the rhodium and add a chemical to it that turns it pink, and then we put that on the yellow gold that makes it rose gold. So
cool. Metallurgy.
It's all chemical process. It's all science and metals.
That's wild. Where's rhodium? Is rhodium found like same place as gold's found?
No, I think it's found in different spots. I have to do a little bit more research on that.
Okay.
So I will look into that though, because I do like learning. So I'll look more into where rhodium is mined, but I think it's not found where gold is found.
And then does platinum come out of the ground too?
Yes. So platinum is another natural metal, comes out the ground. It's supposed to be harder than gold, So if you take 24 karat gold, pure gold, and you take 99% platinum, which is pure platinum, the platinum will be harder than the gold. But usually the gold that we wear is 10 karat, 14 karat gold. That's actually harder than platinum because of the additives that are put in it. So 24 karat gold is pure gold. When you have 14 karat gold, it's actually 58.8% gold, and then the rest is like additives like copper, nickel, brass, all that stuff. So it makes it harder than the platinum. So people usually buy platinum with the age-old saying like, oh, it's harder, it's a tougher metal. Yeah, it's true, but it's not true when it comes to what you wear, like your jewelry. So it's funny because there's so many people I have to explain that to because they come in, they just want platinum. And I'm like, why do you want platinum? Oh, because it's the hardest metal. Well, no, it's not. Not for what you're looking for here. If you're buying it raw, then yeah, but you're not buying it raw. So I have to like explain that to them.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How expensive is platinum?
Platinum's cheaper than gold.
Is it?
Right now, I believe so. We can check that app again. Yep. So spot price for platinum is $12.08, and then spot price for gold was $17.29.
Wow.
So
Oh, no shit.
yeah.
So theoretically, if I were to get platinum girls, it'd be cheaper than gold.
Theoretically, yes, but then no, just because this doesn't take into account labor, and it's a lot harder to work with platinum. So then your labor price comes up a lot higher. But if you're talking about just spot for raw, then yeah, it's cheaper to buy platinum right now.
Is platinum considered a good conductor as well?
So gold is the best conductor as far as heat and electricity goes, and so a lot of big companies that do like aeronautics and stuff like that will use silver actually, just because it's the second best and it's cheaper than gold. And gold is the best conductor, and it can last for a long time. It can run a lot of conductivity through it without deteriorating. Silver would be the next best. Platinum, I've never heard of anybody using that, but it might have to do with pricing. People use more silver because of pricing. So if we look back at this, I know this third time I'm showing you this app now. Look at how cheap silver is compared to gold.
That's crazy.
Per ounce.
Right.
So if you have to use, gold tipped or silver tipped, things in your whatever you're building for conductivity, you'd go for silver just because you'd be saving. Right. You'd be saving a lot of money, but still getting the conduciveness.
But in actual efficiency would be gold.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
I used to have this weird trippy belief that like humans from the future, or somehow we're programmed to know that gold, these metals would have a great electrical conducting to them, because gold's always been valuable even before we had electricity and things like that. And now I know like in a lot of electronics and stuff like that, they use gold. And I used to always feel like somehow it was programmed in us to value these metals even before we knew why.
Yeah.
Because
that's a good point.
I just, to me, gold's always been valuable from what I know of. Like even, people in like the Bronze Age and they needed like metals to like kill and hunt, gold was still valued.
Absolutely, yeah.
So to me, it was just...
It's because it's easy to work with? It's malleable? Is that why?
I don't know. It's either...
I mean, if you look at the great empires throughout history, their currency's always been gold.
Yeah.
So it's always had the highest value. And, like, if you think of the concept of currency, it kind of seems like you're being suckered into something that is, like, not... Like, it's, like, almost used car salesman-y. Oh, yeah, I'll give you this hard-earned, thing that I farmed for a couple of those gold pieces. And it's kind of like, well, who said that this was worth anything? You know what I mean? But then it goes back to like, yeah, it was used in weapons and it was used in so many things.
Building.
To build
temples,
and whatnot. Right. It was
it
was a tip of the Pyramid of Giza.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. The
Yeah.
Egyptians were huge on that.
Right. And then they used it because lightning would strike it, and they'd be safe because the gold would absorb the lightning, and so I read somewhere the Pyramid of Giza used to be like pure white with just a gold tip on top.
It was.
Right.
It's actually at the latitude is at the speed of light.
That's what I read. Yes.
It's in. Last time I was talking about it was in feet. It's not in feet. It's in meters. So
Meters
it's
per
like
second.
29.9 or whatever that is.
Right. So I mean, that's the whole thing is like, gold has been around since the ancient Egyptians, which is like where first texts come from. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of theories that the world already happened once, like to the peak of civilization, and then something reset it, and
well, because like for us everything's digital.